Roadrunner. Oh my gosh. You take a picture of that. Meep meep. Yeah, there's a little figurine right there too. Oh, it's got like a little angelic shape right here too. The Mothman angel shape. Yeah, man, this pareidolia just keeps. It's not. It's not only the sky these days, man. Like, uh, it's all kinds of stuff that are starting to show more pareidolia. But like I said, man, it's like you look at like even the place where Christ is crucified, Golgotha, the place of the skull. It's kind of got a pareidolia kind of a philosophy, kind of a naming thing going on there. That's one of the ways that information is communicated throughout time. It looks like you got the constellations. Those are all pareidolias, basically like pictograms. Language is actually pictographic. If you look at Chinese language or even ancient Hebrew language, they're pictographs, so they're kind of like letters that are pictures. Those two languages definitely got little pieces of it. This almost looks like a weasel rat head. That must be Wile E. Coyote over there. Freaking let me think. Yeah, pitch graphic. That's kind of pareidolia, like the Sleeping Bear Dunes. That's a aspect of pareidolia. They call Michigan the mitten. That's kind of pareidolia. Everyone knows Italy looks like a boot. It's pareidolia. The Upper Peninsula actually looks like a rabbit. Pareidolia. Like up north, there's a river and a spot called Pictured Rocks, painted rocks, because these rocks look like they were painted. But I think they're just natural formation, or maybe they really were painted. I don't know. I'll have to look that one up again. You know, I mean, hey, it's real easy to bridge the gap between. You just study the Bible a lot. In order to confirm that up, you gotta search through other historical texts that are available. So in a way, you kind of get your amateur kind of historian going on, just as a process, just as a consolation prize of really diligently seeking out and studying scriptures. Freaking, because they go across like thousands of years of time. So even in that itself is kind of gives you this historical account kind of a process. So you become kind of like an amateur historian, just by being studied and schooled for yourself, you know, or whatever. However, if you got to use a study group, do that. If you got to use a study group, study by yourself. Watch documentaries. That's the way I've learned a lot of information, like really quick. Is just binge out on documentaries, what's available. There's a lot of good documentaries that fill in some, it's like some background information. Look at that. That almost looks like a face right here. Look at it. See that? This kind of looks like an angelic shape right here. Looks like it's holding a big stone above its head, maybe. Ooh, this looks like some kind of quadrupedal kind of creature. I mean, and you know, look, animorphs are common, like not only in, there's a few animorph type descriptions in the Bible, freaking especially the Daniel description. And then there's another one where it talks about that it has the feet of a bear and the mouth of a lion and teeth like iron. Like there's these very paridolic expressions, but there's also angelic creatures that are very anamorphy, which means like composite, kind of like partially human, partially animal, partially like etheric, or energy or plasmic spirits at the same time. So I mean, there's like, it's very diverse, kind of like spectrum of potentialities when you actually look into the scriptures. But then if you corroborate them by other historical texts, like, you know, Greek, Hellenistic, and Indian, Hinduistic, or Egyptology, all this stuff, like if you see, they were very paridolic and anamorphic in these other like pagan sun worshiper cultures. But for some reason, it's okay for them to do it, you know. But everyone else that does it must be schizophrenic. You know what I mean? But no, it's a principle that, like, I see it's kind of universal. It says, I was just reading Matthew, and it said that the Spirit cameth down in the form of a dove when Christ was baptized. So it's like, look, it's another example of it, man. It's a common, like, form of expression. It's universal, man. Kind of like to expound on greater principles of truth through natural comparison, or comparing things to things. Like, it's not necessarily apples to oranges, but you compare apples to, let's say, to chickens, and then bananas to I don't know, alligators. So it's like, in a way, man, it's like, but it's got to make sense so that the greater moral philosophical truth can be expressed through the usages, not in such a way that clouds or brings in confusion, but actually expounds and actually edifies, which means it edifies like to constructive, it's constructive criticism, but it's also like a form of, it's like, all right, in order to put on this new roof, we got to rip off this old one real quick. So we're going to make it quick and as painless as possible to take off this old roof. And then we're going to bring in a new, we're going to take away the trash, and then we're going to bring a new one and slap it down. And we're going to build on this. You know, it's like the foundation isn't bad, but this wood on this roof sucks. We got to replace this real quick. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, yeah, what's good on the foundation you keep. What's bad, you rip off. You violently snatch it away and take it to Gehenna, you know, to the burning pit. That's the thing, you know, in life, is like what Musashi said. He said, you know, first knowing how to use the wood is a part of the process. So the nasty, ugly wood you use on the inside of the walls. The pretty wood you use on the outside. For lesser stuff you use for tables and chairs and stools. And then what's left over from that you use to make wedges and other small ornament or tools. But then after they're all done and they have no more other purpose, they go into the fire and they become firewood. There's a parable in that is reiterated through scripture, you know. The weed, the tares grow together. at the end of the harvest, they're gathered into bundles. Those that don't produce good fruit go right into one of them. I do that from season to season myself with certain things. Certain things that are useful get put into the storehouse. The things that outlive their purpose or are just, you know, basically just deteriorating and rotting away anyway, you might as well just cast them in the fire, spread the ashes, and then actually everything around that's good and living still, it's recycled and everything goes to its place. You know what I mean? So even though it's not only is it true in actual application, like gung fu hard work, everything in its time and its place, but it's also, you know, a spiritual principle as well as one that works in the physical and even in the metaphorical, allegorical, philosophical sense. All these things jive and corroborate, and that's kind of how that's how you expand from immature mind to a mature mind. But then beyond that, you know, there's even a higher level where you've been operating in maturity in many things for a long time and you just become good at them. It's like second nature. But you know, people didn't see all the tearing down and the throwing out and the stuff that you had to do to hone it and whittle it down over time to become the maximum effectiveness. So I think we all have a kind of judging things how they look right now and missing out what they're going to be in the future. And even if we speculate too much about it, chances are it's probably we're going to go wrong. So it would have been better just to wait and observe it until, you know, when the evidence sprouts forth, you know. Yeah, it's just it's a process. You gotta stick to it and replace bad habits with better habits, and then as those better habits even become outdated and not as useful, even replace those with even better habits, or you get rid of certain things altogether. You know, it's a learning process, man.